Hello everyone, my name is Kiana James and I am the chairperson for the Advisory Board on the Status of Women. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to our annual Women of Consequence Award ceremony. Today, we acknowledge two wonderful individuals making an impact and igniting positive change in our community through resilience and reemergence. As we know, we have been living in unparalleled times, and these ladies have proved to adapt to change and find innovative ways to providing service and leading in a time of need. Before I go on, I'd like to recognize the amazing women who have volunteered their time, knowledge, and resources to help push this committee forward. Sam Sandrowski, Tracy Whitney, Heather Borelli, Ruby Uabu, Martha Benitez, and Marcia Macri. Thank you for all you do. We would also like to thank our City of Worcester liaison, Jana Turchett. Thank you for your commitment to this committee. This year, we received several nominations and the committee's choice was not easy. We want to acknowledge everyone nominated and want to encourage you all to keep empowering our community. We see you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2022 Women of Consequence Awards. This year, we get to honor two women who try to make our city a better place. And those women are Michelle Smith and Nelly Rushton. And I want to thank them for their service. You join the ranks of other women who have received this award. For example, Ann Sawyer, Patty Eppinger, and of course, Atel Hajiai from the Worcester City Council. And Michelle, I get to know you personally over the years. You've been 25 years with Age Project Worcester, and I just want to thank you for your service. And congratulations to you on your new location. And you do wonderful work here in the city of Worcester. And to Nellie, thank you. Thank you for caring for your other students here in the Worcester Public Schools and the city of Worcester. You made a difference, especially when you're trying to address mental health issues with COVID-19. Became very demanding on you, but the city appreciates what you have done. So again, thank you. And I want to thank the advisory committee for putting this together every year and making this happen. It's a great award, and again, congratulations to everyone who's involved, and especially congratulations to Michelle and Nellie. I'd like to read the proclamation. Whereas the Advisory Committee on the Status of Women was created in 1977 to formulate, encourage, promote, and monitor programs and policies related to the status of women in the city of Worcester. Whereas since 1996, the committee has highlighted extraordinary women of all ages through the Women of Consequence Awards held annually on and near the date of International Women's Day. And whereas International Women's Day is a time to reflect on progress made, to call for change, and to celebrate the acts of courage and determination by ordinary women who have played an extraordinary role in the history of their countries and communities. And whereas Women of Consequence awardee Michelle Smith and Young Women of Consequence awardee Nelly Rushton have made achievements and contributions that inspire and move forward the status of women in our community. Now therefore, I, Mayor Joseph M. Petty, do proclaim March 10th, 2022 as Women of Consequence Day in the city of Worcester, and urge all residents to recognize the continuous fight towards gender equity and to improve the quality of life of women in Worcester. Again, congratulations, Michelle and Nellie and the whole advisory committee, and look forward to meeting in person next year. Thank you.
My name is Atel Hajiai, District 5 Worcester City Councilor, and I am so proud and honored to say a big congratulations to Michelle Smith and Nelly Rushton for being this year Women and Young Women of Consequence. It has been a long, hard, and traumatic year for many people and communities. COVID-19 exposed and exacerbated a lot of issues we knew existed before. Health disparities, homelessness, housing instability, and income inequity. Right here in Worcester, quietly and without much fanfare, women banded together to open women's shelters to respond to the needs of those most vulnerable among us, especially women and young girls. We have much more work to do to make sure women and girls in our city, especially women and girls of color, have what they need to be resilient and thrive. As a member of the City Council, a former member of the Advisory Committee on the Status of Women, and last year's Woman of Consequence. You have my deep appreciation for all the work you do for women and girls in our community, and for doing this work with mission and purpose. Thank you and big congratulations.
I'd like to thank the City of Worcester Advisory Committee on the Status of Women and all the women who've participated in today's program. Thank you for your work in the community, and thank you for being tireless in your advocacy. This is the 19th annual presentation of these awards, and I'm always impressed to learn about its recipients and inspired by their contributions to the city. Women of Consequence awardee Michelle Smith and Young Woman of Consequence awardee Nelly Rushton have made achievements and contributions that inspire and move forward the status of women in our community. Nellie is a student leader at Doherty Memorial High School, where she serves on the student council, the math team, and is founder and president of the Entrepreneurship Club. She's also a student athlete. Her after-school job is a research assistant at WPI. We are lucky to have her as a member of our student community. Michelle is a longtime friend and served AIDS Project Worcester for over 25 years, and the last 10 years as the CEO. As a Worcester resident and community leader, she embodies the "let's do this together" attitude that makes our community so special. Whether it's giving voice to marginalized communities, building a sustainable organization, or being on the forefront of COVID testing during the pandemic, Michelle is a highly respected leader by all who know her. Congratulations to the 2022 awardees Michelle Smith and Nelly Rushton. Well done.
Our hats are off to women in our community who are committed to leading, encouraging, and helping press on the goal of the great city of Worcester. Again, the committee thanks you.
My name is Kim Sullivan, and I'm the Executive Director of First Friends Early Care and Education Center, located here in Worcester. I have worked in the early childhood field for over 30 years. I'm honored to be part of the 2022 Women of Consequence Awards.
I work for UMass Memorial Health, and I've been with the organization for about 14 years, a little over 14 years. And I work, actually, I am the program manager for the UMass Memorial Ronald McDonald Care Mobile. And so that is a vehicle that has been going out for the last 22 years out in communities in Worcester, and they're underserved communities mainly. We offer medical and dental services.
On behalf of Worcester Community Fridges, thank you for inviting us here today. It is an honor to be here representing the mass community effort that it has taken to sustain the 4 free food fridges throughout the city of Worcester. We believe having access to food is an essential human right. We organize community fridges with the goal of empowerment through food access and work in solidarity to feed our neighbors and commit to a sustained source of food for all.
Amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, when neighbors were navigating concerns regarding safety and inequitable access to resources, the Worcester Community Fridges was born. When the overarching structures failed to meet our basic fundamental needs, we the people came together to support each other. This work reflects the resilience within our community, and we want to highlight that this work is currently spearheaded by a beautiful intergenerational group of femme-presenting and queer volunteers who are rooted in love and the liberation of our community.
Worcester Community Fridges operates as a mutual aid collective. At the core, mutual aid is about community building and empowerment. We are following the footsteps of grassroots organizers who came before us and acknowledge that mutual aid practices stem from non-Western traditions that predate colonialism and capitalism. We must analyze the causes of systemic issues and build new social systems for resolving those inequities. Yesterday's solutions cannot solve today's problems.
So as you walk around the city and see our growing network of outdoor free food fridges, we ask you to jump right in. Whether you're cleaning the fridge, leaving or taking food, or organizing a food drive, every bit helps to sustain this mass effort. We encourage everyone to get out there and authentically reconnect with their community and neighbors. It is through this connection that true progressive work can be done.
So my name is Arielle. I am the Housing Program Coordinator for the City of Worcester, and I was the former chair of the Advisory Committee on the Status of Women.
I've been in the higher ed world for about 20 years, and I started my career at Bentley University, worked in the project management role, and managed the PMO office, and then moved into the security role. After that, I went to Becker College, where I was their CIO and then VP of IT for about 7 years and did a transformation at Becker. And then I've been at WPI for the last 4 years, where I've helped WPI through a digital transformation most recently, and then, of course, helping us work remotely and teach our students remotely during the pandemic. I think there are many. First and foremost, I think you really need good empathy right now. You need good transparency with your teams. You need excellent communication skills, especially working in hybrid and remote worlds and keeping people up to date. But you also need the ability to move quickly because things are changing constantly all the time. And I think especially with COVID, one of the really important things is to be able to balance hard truths, right, with optimism. And I think when you can do that, your teams really appreciate it.
So patience is key right now. Everybody has had to deal with so many challenges in the last few years, and stress is high, anxiety is high, people are grieving, and being patient as you work with people goes a long way.
I think being an effective leader at this time, and really almost any time, is being resilient, right? That's sometimes hard to do on some days, but you're just going to be like, all right, especially with this pandemic, we can say it's temporary, it's going to stop, it's going to end one day, it's going to get better, and you just got to keep that in mind. You know what I mean? Everything that you do really adds to the next level of improvement.
I would like to start by sharing a quote by Mary Barra, the CEO of General Motors. It's okay to admit what you don't know. It's okay to ask for help. And it's more than okay to listen to the people you lead. In fact, it's essential.
Humility is important right now too. We don't have all the answers or any of the answers sometimes, and we have to hold ourselves accountable when an approach doesn't work. And I know that it's okay to get it wrong sometimes, but acknowledging those times and learning from mistakes and bad choices can help us grow as a leader and build trust.
Understanding your organization's core values is crucial in maintaining the authenticity of your work. There's a lot of exploitation that happens at the ground level of organizing. Being able to say no to opportunities that do not align with your mission is a necessary step in this work. Sustainable leadership is also understanding your limits and working in ways that honor balance and prioritize community connection and care. I'd love to highlight the teachings and words of Audre Lorde, a Black feminist author and activist, who wrote, quote, "Caring for myself is not self-indulgence, it is self-preservation, and that is an act of political warfare." For women who are leading within while also navigating oppressive systems, taking care of yourself and honestly finding opportunities for rest is a necessary and transformative part of the work.
Being a leader during the COVID-19 pandemic showed me that I needed to be confident enough in myself to ask for help from my team. It was stressful and it was scary, but I knew my team and my families needed me to be stronger than ever at this time. Together, we would lead our families through this very difficult time.
I think flexibility is another important attribute right now. Things continue to change and evolve, and being flexible as a leader is going to be key, especially being flexible with the people that you're leading.
Flexibility is huge. You have to be flexible in order to pivot. And I think, our whole team was amazing in being flexible. Also, teamwork, you gotta, understand that, you're working with a team, and if someone, has an idea, we need to listen, you know what I mean? I mean, everybody has amazing ideas, and, a lot of times we implement them, So we always have to be, having our listening. We always have to listen, absolutely. That's a big plus for a leader, is to listen to your team. Having understanding and being kind.
So one of the things that we did with the city's rental assistance program is partner with several local agencies in the city. This allowed applicants to work with agencies that they were already familiar with and then also access other resources like fuel assistance or mental health services. So creating these types of partnerships really allowed us to reach more families and provide more assistance overall, which was definitely critical during this crazy time.
I think one of the biggest things about innovative ways is having a team that is willing and is able to wear multiple hats, So, our core team has always worn multiple hats in the Caramobile. And the people that we hired, temporary, were wonderful in learning the different roles, in both programs, the Stop the Spread testing program and the vaccine program. For example, they would know how to register a patient and also swab if we needed them to, if they were, certified to do that, or, not certified, but if they were able to do that. And also, with vaccines, those vaccinators, a lot of them and can also register patients and go through the information about the vaccine. So it's really great to have that type of team where they're willing and they're able to do multiple roles, work multiple roles.
We stayed connected. We attended virtual trainings through the Department of Early Education and Care, the CDC, and the Department of Public Health. New guidelines were created, updates were made, and together we moved in a positive direction. I couldn't have done it without asking for collaboration from my amazing administration team. We put our heads together and created the best possible atmosphere for our children and families during such a difficult time.
We organize horizontally, meaning that our focus is aligning ourselves with other organizations in Worcester. Rather than building a top-down leadership structure, we extend our work to the already existing mutual aid networks and work collaboratively to achieve our common goals. In recent weeks, we've partnered with the Parents Union of Massachusetts to widen our volunteer network and deepen our connections within the community. Innovative leadership is recognizing that we already have models of unity that can sustain us and meet our needs.
We kind of said, hold on. We need to, we're figuring out that a lot of people need more information about COVID. And when that was happening, we were learning more about it also. We wanted to go out there and kind of, tell people what we knew about it, because there was a lot of conflicting information and things like that. What we did is we started, getting information packets together in different languages, going to our old sites. We would go to 10 to 12 different sites in the Worcester area. And we would go out there just, taking a table. I think this started in April 2020, taking a table, having all our PPE on and giving people information packets that we had about COVID. We also gave hand sanitizers. We were teaching people how to, properly clean their hands and how to, mask up.
Anybody who's worked in tech over the last couple years has had to do tremendous pivots. WPI, we have about 1,500 employees and almost 7,000 students, and most of those were in person. We have a small online learning component, but for the most part, it was a really in-person in-person learning experience. And so when COVID hit, we had to pivot everything, our entire operations as well as all of our learning, to online. So we had to make drastic changes in the way people received and accessed information, from things like increasing VPN licenses so they could securely access things, to setting up soft phones on computers so they could answer phones from home instead of doing it at a desk, to moving all of our courses online, to helping our faculty flip their classrooms so that it was a better experience for students. So it was a significant transformation. And I think probably not only were we able to provide our students with a continual learning experience, we didn't have to stop teaching, but our entire operations was able to run remotely without a problem. And we had probably almost our entire staff was remote for at least 3 to 4 months when the pandemic hit. And we still today have some staff that work entirely remotely because it works so well.
It took countless Zoom meetings, sharing ideas, learning new protocols and guidelines, and doing everything in our power to keep the children and families in our community healthy and safe. We began a virtual platform to have daily communication with the children and families, and stay connected. The teachers would read a story, provide an activity, or sing a song to allow the children to stay engaged with their classroom. This proved to be so helpful not only for the families, but for the staff. It made everyone feel less isolated and alone.
When testing came along, we said, why don't we start doing that? We found out that, that there's a big need for that, especially in the underserved communities where we're used to. So we worked with some partners in the city and went to those areas and offered testing. And I think so far we've administered about 110,000 tests. When vaccines came out, we said, you know what, we're out here. We know the people, we know the partners. And so we started offering COVID vaccines in February of 2021. And we are still doing that to this day. So with that, we gave out about 10,000 vaccines in the communities. We have gone to homebounds. We've gone to the tight places where, people just don't usually leave those areas,
At the beginning, it was a challenge, right? Because we really had a week, maybe 2 weeks at the most to flip everything. So I have to say my IT team full of wonderful, wonderful people. And we looked at everything we needed. We quickly purchased things that we didn't have. Things that we did have, we worked quickly and hard. For example, our students, all of their file share information had been on premise. We wanted to make it easy. So I had one person who worked for a week transferring files to the cloud to make it easier for our students to access information. So it was a lot of hard work when things first hit.
As a female leader in the Worcester community, I would tell all other leaders not to be afraid to ask for help. Use your resources, collaborate with team members, inspire others, and you can do anything.
I think it's important to approach this work authentically. Really amazing things can come from the process of intentionally reflecting on your life experiences to understand and advocate for the systems that would have made a difference in your life.
First and foremost, you have to do what you love, right? That's critical. You also have to take risks, and you have to form a strong community of other women to support you. And one of the examples I'll give, there has been twice in my career where I've felt like I've taken stretch positions. And at the times I'm like, is this really the right position for me? Because it's a stretch. And after 3 or 4 months on the job, I'm like, this wasn't a stretch. I'm way more qualified than the person who was here before me, right? And so you have to take those risks and not be afraid. Put yourself out there, right? You're going to fall every now and then. And that's where having really good, supportive women who you can bounce ideas off of or who can pick you up when you fall down is key. And I think the last part is when you get to a place in your career where you've experienced a lot of things, to give back. Like I find a lot of my female employees will want to chat about various topics, and if I can help them and give them advice and point them in a direction on something that's helpful to them, I'm happy to do that, because then I see the next generation of leaders growing.
Don't be shy if you have a passion to help your community in any way, in any area, whether it's homeless, whether it's helping your community to get healthy, any area, definitely reach out, do some homework, see who's working on that or who has the same interest. Reach out to the city or local counselors, your hospital, community benefits, and see where you can find more information and definitely help. Don't hide that passion. Definitely go out and try to do that, try to help. So I think you're needed out there for sure.
Worcester is a large enough city that it might feel intimidating to put yourself out there and raise your voice, but it can also create opportunities for you to do your own thing and find people who share your vision and align with the work that you want to do. Get out there and do fun stuff with people that you like. It makes the work feel joyful.
I encourage other women to be authentic and unapologetically so. Every woman has a unique set of experiences that they bring to the table, and you've earned that place at the table. You belong there. So we want to hear from you. There's this current trend on social media there. People are doing lip syncs to voiceovers, and there's one that says, the girls who get it, and those who don't. And that's so true. So just be yourself, and the people that are meant to hear your message and that you're meant to lead will be there. And for everybody else, don't worry about it.
On behalf of the City Manager and the Advisory Committee on the Status of Women, it is my pleasure to announce that the 2022 Young Woman of Consequence Award goes to Miss Nelly Rushton. The Young Woman of Consequence Award recognizes an incredible young woman in the city dedicated to their community, and this award could not have gone to a more deserving young woman. Nellie is a junior at Audre Memorial High School. Throughout her high school career, Nellie has created, served, and volunteered for a myriad of organizations aimed at supporting her fellow students and serving her community. She is a champion of her fellow students and serves in many capacities as an advisor, a volunteer, a leader, teammate, coach, and counselor. When she is not leading her school's first entrepreneurship club, Nellie is painting fences, volunteering at women's shelters, and leading third graders as a religious education teacher. She is passionate about pursuing her interests in the STEM fields and aspires to mentor other young women in their journey as she recognizes the need to provide access into these spaces for historically underrepresented populations. There is no task too big or too small for Nellie. Amongst all her commitments, Nellie still finds time to help her sisters with their homework, as well as help her grandparents navigate safely through the COVID-19 crisis. To quote Nellie, "No matter the scheme, I find a sense of purpose in guiding my community toward growth and success." Nellie, your dedication and commitment is an inspiration to all of us to continue to work for the betterment of our community in any and every capacity, no matter how big or small. Congratulations again, Nellie. Well deserved. Our best wishes for an incredible future. We expect amazing things from you.
My name is Nelly Rushton, and I am a junior at Audre Memorial High School. I would like to start off by saying that I am so incredibly honored and humbled to have been chosen as the recipient of the 2022 Young Woman of Consequence Award from the City of Worcester. I would like to personally thank the entire City of Worcester Advisory Committee on the Status of Women for this privilege. I would also like to thank and acknowledge Ms. Waters, who encouraged me to nominate myself for this award and has continually inspired me to be an agent for positive change in my community. I have a passion for entrepreneurship, which consistently keeps me on the lookout for ways to improve my community and introduce innovation. For example, in daily interactions during pandemic learning, I noticed that many of my peers felt there were a lack of ways to interact with their school community outside of class meetings. They had so many inventive ideas that they wanted to take action on, but couldn't due to a lack of external support. Taking these observations in, I took the initiative to found the Entrepreneurship Club at Doherty High. I reached out to prospective guest speakers, which has allowed us to host interactive events to inspire young innovators who are members of the club. We have also organized fun activities for students during bi-weekly meetings to promote the development of an entrepreneurial mindset. One of which we are currently working on is creating a Doherty-themed game to give students real-world experience with creating a business plan, teamwork, strategic business thinking, market research, budgeting, etc. In the Entrepreneurship Club, we unite students to expose them to the inner workings of entrepreneurship and running a business, something that the traditional classroom cannot provide. While stepping out of my comfort zone to launch the club, I've learned how to better engage my peers and the potency of mutual communication. I often find myself applying the same principles of innovation to other community endeavors I am involved in. These include volunteering for United Way over summer to address food insecurity and outdoor recreation, leading as Vice President of Student Council to support my peers, and planning out-of-the-box weekly lessons as a volunteer religious education teacher. My after-school job is working as a research assistant in a learning sciences lab at WPI. Here, I have been introduced to the concept of applying STEM to investigate issues plaguing contemporary education and to innovate research-backed solutions to such problems. Taking on leading responsibilities in studies, voicing my contributions during meetings, and communicating with my colleagues is especially important in this role, because women like myself are an incredibly underrepresented population in STEM fields. I hope to serve as a mentor to lead young women in their journey with innovation through STEM, like the amazing mentors who have motivated me thus far. My ultimate aspiration is to inspire the Worcester community to leverage innovations to cultivate change in the community. Regardless of whether that be through developing the next big app to overcome educational challenges, launching an initiative to promote environmental consciousness, or founding a nonprofit to combat food insecurity, encouraging our youth to innovate is certainly crucial to the progress of our community. In the future, I plan to become involved with the larger Center for Entrepreneurship and host workshops for all ages in the community to provide them with the means to turn their ideas into a reality for the greater good. I will continue to work hard to serve as a leader in initiating change in the Worcester community. Thank you to the entire City of Worcester Advisory Committee on the Status of Women for this wonderful award and recognition, and thank you to everyone watching for your commitment to our community.
On behalf of the City of Worcester, City Manager Edward Augustus, and the Advisory Committee on the Status of Women, I am honored to present to you the 2022 winner of the Woman of Consequence Award, Michelle Smith. Ms. Smith has been with AIDS Project Worcester for over 25 years, leading the organization for over 10 as their CEO. As described by her nominator, her compassionate, innovative thinking, coupled with a let's do this together attitude, has been at the core approach of Ms. Smith's leadership. In addition, as a woman of color, Ms. Smith continues to model the value and critical importance of diverse leadership within the Worcester County. I now present to you Michelle Smith.
Here we are, 2022, and we're still in our little virtual boxes. It feels kind of strange to be together but apart for this important event. But keeping each other safe is a priority we all care about in our community, and keeping each other safe is at the core of my agency's work. AIDS Project Worcester has been saving lives and making our community safer for over 3 decades. If we don't prioritize our actions to help those in need, the consequences can be devastating to the individuals we serve and to our community. My team, because we all know it takes a team, does that hard work every day, and the last 2 years of the COVID-19 pandemic has really pushed us all to the limit. We've all had to pivot in place and navigate a new normal in unprecedented times without skipping a beat to still be there for those who need us, and life has taught me that none of us can do this alone. Which brings me to this honor. Being selected for this award took me completely by surprise. I thought, me? What? Why? How? Then the anxiety kicked in. People who know me know I do not like to be the center of attention. In fact, I do everything I can to avoid it. So it took a minute to digest what this honor means. I started thinking about, what is it to be called a woman of consequence? Think about that for a minute. A woman of consequence. The word consequence is defined by the Oxford Dictionary as a result or effect of an action or condition. So I'm here today as a result of an action that someone took to nominate me for this award, and from the results of an action taken by the members of the Advisory Committee on the Status of Women in selecting me. But what does being a woman of consequence mean? In a culture where we're finally broadening our understanding of gender, it's important that we remember to value what it means to be female and or female identified while also acknowledging the wider gender spectrum. It's equally important that we honor diversity and full representation. As a woman of color, I'm acutely aware of how my actions can affect the reactions of those I interact with. I know from personal experience that the consequences of my actions can be positive or not so positive, and that being seen can lift me up or hold me down. I'm deeply grateful to the members of the Worcester Advisory Committee on the Status of Women for selecting me this year from a long list of other deserving, empowering, and impactful Worcester women leaders who serve our community every day. Thank you for this honor. It touches me and motivates me. Being named this year's Woman of Consequence reminds me that I'm always responsible for ensuring the very best consequences of my own actions, and for those of my agency's programs, staff and volunteers in order to best serve our consumers, supporters, and the greater Worcester community. Thank you for acknowledging my leadership. Thank you for acknowledging the value of a woman leader of color, for seeing me and lifting me up. Thank you all so very much, and I'd like to close with this quote from Michelle Obama, as it sums up perfectly how important it is to lift each other up. When times get tough and fear sets in, think of those people who paved the way for you and those who are counting on you to pave the way for them. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone that made our program possible tonight, including my fellow committee members on the Advisory Committee on the Status of Women, our staff liaison, Jana Turchak, all of the nominators and nominees of the Young Women of Consequence Awards and the Women of Consequence Awards, and to Cable Services. Our keynote speakers showed resilience, leadership, and innovation during a difficult time. We thank them for sharing their wisdom. On behalf of the Advisory Committee on the Status of Women and the City of Worcester, we'd like to once again congratulate our 2022 Young Woman of Consequence, Nelly Rushton, and our 2022 Woman of Consequence, Michelle Smith. You are truly inspirations to us all. Thank you for all that you do in our community. And thank you to everyone for joining us tonight to celebrate these exceptional women. We hope that you're inspired to find your voice and your space to lead in our community.